Do you know that sleep is a very mysterious subject? Scientific students of sleep are not yet at all sure what sleep is. Apparently people need it, but nobody really knows why they need it from a strictly scientific point of view. And we apparently need to dream in sleep also. People who are deprived of dreams get very, very restless and unhappy. But we're not quite sure why we need dreaming. I mean, we've got all sorts of theories, the Freudians and the Jungians and so on. They think they know why we need to dream, but it hasn't been really rigorously established scientifically why we do, or why we need to sleep. But from a naive point of view, you can say, of course I need to sleep, because after I've had a whole day of business and friends and work and so on, it's too much. There's too much input. I want to digest it. And while I'm digesting it, I don't want any more input. I don't want any more information. So I want to be turned off. That's, one of those simple common sense things that everybody knows, but has not yet been fully explained. So sleep is this marvelous thing that we have, which is a forgettery process that is apparently essential to our psychic health every 12 hours or so. If you don't get it, you start getting worried. As a matter of fact, insomnia is a thing that is rather curious, because if you do get insomnia, the worst thing of all to do is to worry about it. Invariably, if I can't sleep, I don't try to go to sleep. I get up and work or do something. Or I read a very difficult book, especially one that is big and weighs a lot. This is a good way to go to sleep. But if you have insomnia, don't ever try to go to sleep. Nobody can try to go to sleep. Lots of mothers think they can get their children, and they say, darling, try to go to sleep. Didn't your mother say to you, try to go to sleep? Or she wanted to get you out of the way. That was the only reason she said, try to go to sleep. Or she thought perhaps it was good for you, and that you ought really to get your sleep. Like telling some child that it's got to eat its spinach. This is a form of the double bind. You are required to do that which will be good only if it's done voluntarily. So try to go to sleep. It is impossible, because it's a spontaneous activity, and it can be helped, as we shall see when we come to consider torpor. But by and large, sleep is a spontaneous activity and is a way of turning yourself off to get away from the bombardment of awareness and forget, because forgetting renews. And that also is a function of all demolitions, of deaths, of destruction of patterns, of knocking down buildings, of the whole change process in the universe. Because we want to do what we've done before over again, only if you remember it too often, it'll become boring. So if you forget, then you can do it again, and it'll be just as amazing as it was the first time. And so there absolutely has to be a forgettery built into this universe in just the same way and for just the same reasons that there must be an eliminative process in the body as well as an eating process. And both are vitally important. And you see, we have very different attitudes to the two. Eating is something we do socially. Eliminating is something we do privately. Eating, we consider, we want the all good smells and all that kind of thing. Eliminating is all bad smells and that kind of thing. Well, this is largely social conditioning that tells us this. But nevertheless, these are the two sides of the game we play, and there's a spectrum between the two. So in the same way here, you have to forget, just as you have to eliminate, so that everything is renewed, because it can happen again without being boring. Things that happen all the time, in any way, begin to pass out of consciousness. For example, if there is a constant noise going on while we're talking, it will annoy us at first, but after a while we shall cease to notice it, if it's constant. But if it keeps varying, coming on in different volumes and different rhythms, it'll hold our attention all the time. So anything that just goes diggity ding, 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 you eventually cease to notice. So then, sleep is the renewer, because it's a state of forgetfulness. Now, torpor describes something approaching sleep. But this also is a valuable state because it's very comfortable. In sleep, you're not aware of sleeping. But in torpor, you are aware of the comfort of tiredness and minified consciousness. It is a sort of pseudo return to the womb. And so when after a hard day's work, where people have been irritating and combative, you go home or you go to the local bar and you down a number of martinis, they turn you off and they put you into a state of near torpor, or what is quite correctly and scientifically called, by this learned and funny word, narcosis. Narcosis, Narcissus, is connected with narcosis. It means torpor, reduced consciousness, reduced sensory input. And the reason why Narcissus is associated with narcosis is that Narcissus, when he saw his reflection in the water, didn't know it was himself. And he became so fascinated by this image in the water that he became unaware of everything else. He got hung up, or shall we say, to use current slang, hooked on his own image. And he didn't know it was his own image. That was the only reason he could get hooked on it. So Narcissus and narcosis are associated. And so the permissive narcotic in our culture is alcohol. And other narcotics like opiates exist. But you must remember that you can only correctly use the word narcotic of something inducing the state of consciousness which is torpor. Now you can do it by massage, by relaxation exercises, by hot tubs, many, many ways of inducing torpor. In torpor, you're not truly relaxed because you tend to lose muscular tonus, which you always retain in true relaxation. But you begin to go like a limp rag. Now there's a place for that in life. And it's good as a way of sleep induction for people who have insomnia and are so anxious that they don't allow themselves to be turned off. I would want to say, in general, a good word for sleep and torpor, because a lot of people are against them. Uspensky, who was Gurdjieff's sort of St. Paul, always felt that his life was a war against sleep, that intense light consciousness should conquer darkness. Now that's a stupid idea. To be a human being, you have to love the light, but you also must trust yourself to the darkness. Let yourself go in the faith that you'll arrive back all in one piece.